Hey girl, hey. It is your girl Janelle Renee back again for another season, y'all. How y'all doing? It's been a while, and it's certainly been a while since I've been live on the podcast, but here we are for another season 8, y'all. New beginnings. Are you ready? And we're pivoting, and this season we're talking femininity and finances. And before you guys be like, femininity, no, I'm not talking about that femininity that is like feminist, like just women empowerment, and just leaning into the, just uplifting women, almost like idolizing women and femininity. But I'm talking about the way God created us naturally as women, having that virtue, having that good character, that meekness and that quiet spirited, how to still also be good managers and stewards of finances according to the biblical principles. And so, as well as practical, y'all, because we need both. So I'm here just to go ahead and give a little trailer today. So for everyone who will come in, I ask that you just come in, and I'm going to put the countdown on here, and then we will get started. I am so excited.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So, y'all, like I said, we're back again for another episode here at the Purity After Promiscuity podcast, where we are redefining a woman's worth. And I want to say to every person who will hear this live or who will come and listen to the recording, I just hope that you come and you are ready to be blessed. And if this is a podcast that you think that is, you want to make sure that you're part of this community, then please subscribe, follow, like, share, connect with us so you can know every time we come out with a new episode. And of course, you can also leave a review on some podcasting platforms, such as Spotify and some of the others. So please, if you can leave a review, that will help us to get more visibility and in front of more people. So without further ado, femininity and finances, y'all. Like, I'm going to just be honest, y'all, and I'm going to just kind of give you guys a little backstory of why and how femininity and finances was birthed, okay? So I was literally, I feel like, impressed by the Lord to create a like a little module or a little course, like a mini course on femininity and finances. And I did that probably like a few years ago, where I started it and I started like putting it together. I started gathering information. I started, like doing all the things, and I even started like working in it. And actually I could probably find it unfinished, and I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna actually begin to work on that. But the reason why I started it is because I really felt like the Lord was wanting me to deal with us as women, like in our in understanding like what biblical femininity is, like, and how you are to have soft life, right? So like the Lord started speaking to me, and I spoke on this in previous episodes, previous season, about the soft life in Christ, right? And in Christ, the soft life is we don't worry, right? The Bible says that we don't worry about what we're gonna eat or drink. Well, we're not gonna worry about what we're gonna wear, because our Father already know we need these things, right? The Bible tells us also in Philippians not to be anxious for anything, right? So we don't have to be anxious. The Bible also tells us that the Lord will never leave or forsake us. So we never have to feel lonely. And it tells us also that the Lord shall supply all of our need, when he was speaking to the Philippians, through Apostle Paul, and so on and so forth. We have all these promises and these reassurances of who God is to us. And sometimes as women, it takes a while for us to catch up to that, because life can just naturally cause us to have a rough exterior. It could cause us to become callous, right? And it has for me, so when God begins to speak to you, at least how I've noticed, it's normally through your personal experience. And I grew to become very independent, which also caused me to be too dependent. And so therefore, when it came to depending on God, I had a very hard time. because I'm just so used to being all by myself, having to figure it out. I'm so used to having to take care of my children and not really having that much help or nobody I can consistently lean on. I'm so used to being in situations where I don't really have no person or anyone I can go to. I just have to figure it out for myself. I had to, work 2 jobs. I had to work and go to school. I had to, do what I had to do for my children, and so on and so forth, right? And so when those things happen, it causes us to come out of our natural element of softness. The way God created it, he created a woman to come alongside a man and to be a suitable helper, right? Comparable to him, to help him to do what he was called to do. And in that, he also should help the woman. And so men are natural providers, not that women cannot provide, but we're natural nurturers. So for a lot of us, it comes more naturally for us to just care for the home, to care for the children, to do those domesticated things, and that is okay. But what happens is when you have to switch that role, and now as a single woman, as a single mother, you're in the role of provider, you're in the role of protector, you're in the role of just a covering. You're having to cover yourself, cover your family, and now you begin to walk into a design that God never created for us as women, right? And so that's why even though we can do it, doesn't mean we should. And so a lot of us have become hardened and callous just because of life, hardships, disappointment, sadness, sorrow, despair, unfulfilled hopes. The Bible talks about hope deferred, but it also talks about a tree of life is a desire fulfilled. So it's all of these things, right, that play into how we develop this being outside of what God ordained femininity is. And when we experience these things, as well as trauma, abuse, and rejection and abandonment, and we have these wounded souls, how we relate to our finances typically is going to come out of that place, right? More times than not, a person who is healthy and whole, they deal with their finances and they are very good stewards, right? They're disciplined, they're consistent, right? They manage their money well, they budget, they know where all their money is, they tend to save, they have savings, they have investments, they just do the things that are required in order to have a healthy financial portfolio, right? But for a lot of us, it's not that we don't want to do those things, okay? It's not that. It's almost like there's something that prevents us from doing it. So I want to begin to break those things down in this season, because I know that there are so many of us who God wants to grace us with wealth. And I want to say this is not prosperity preaching or teaching. This is not we gonna rub God like a genie and expect him to just give us whatever we want. And this is not we gonna go to and just begin to just ask God for wealth and money. No, this is how do you heal your soul? How do your soul become healed? So your mind can be renewed concerning finances. So the relationship that we have with finances can become healthy, so God can entrust us with more, right? Because when you think about the 10 talents in that parable, the parable of the talents, one servant got 5, one got 2, one got 1, and that was just according to what the master had observed that they could handle based on him, them being his servants. And just like that master, God gives us purposes, he gives us gifts, he gives us talents according to our grace, right? And so they were all expected to produce, and based on their capacity. So God don't require more of us than what we could produce. Based on the capacity they were required to produce. And the one with 5, he was able to produce 5 more, and now he had 10. The one with 2 produced 2 more, he had 4. But the last one, who had 1, he decided, instead of using using any type of tools to help get double or at least gain some yield on whether he was given. He did nothing with it. He buried it. And so why did he do that? Right? The thing he said to the master was, he was like, well, I know that you are a wicked and evil man. And, I don't have my Bible open to that particular story right now. Paraphrasing, he just was like, I know you're a wicked and evil man. So I went and buried your money. And so here's what you gave me. And so the thing about it is that sticks out to me is he said that he knows that his master is like mean and wicked and evil, and he plant or pluck where he didn't plant, and all whatever. It was just the characteristics that he explained about his master. And so his master was like, well, if you know all that, if you know that this is the type of person I am, why didn't you at least put my money in the bank so you could at least drew some interest and I could at least gain something? But what sticks out to me is that this servant got the talent. He got it something, a seed to do something with. And instead of him choosing to do something with it that can cause it to grow, he decided to bury it for fear. He was in fear. So the thing that sticks out to me is he did not handle what he was given properly because he was in fear because of the master's character, who he perceived the master to be. A lot of us, God has given us gifts, talents, ideas, ingenuity, business skills, business acumen, right? He's given us connections and opportunity and open doors and all these things, and we don't do the right thing with it for fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of the what if, fear that I can't do this, the fear it's scary, fear that I don't have what it takes, fear that my physical circumstance are this. For fear, we don't manage or we don't steward the thing that God has given us. In the same way as that servant in that parable of the talents. For fear, he feared something. He feared the master, so he buried it. And that is a trauma response. When we respond out of fear, that's a trauma response. So when we mismanage our finances because we fear, like some people hoard everything. They're not necessarily saving because it's a different mindset. Hoarding is, I'm just going to hold on to everything because I'm never going to release anything. Saving is, I'm not going to spend this. I want to take this, put it to the side and save it for a rainy day. And so I'm putting something up, but there is a particular time that I may have to use it. Or when you're hoarding, you're not really intending to use it at all because you're so afraid of being without. You think you won't get it again. You won't have it again. You think that things are going to just go bad for you if you spend or whatnot. So when you're hoarding your seed, when you're hoarding your talent, when you're hoarding your gifts, you are doing that out of some trauma response, whether it's fear, whether it's insecurity, whether it is, a low self-perception, whether it is feeling insignificant, whether if you're feeling fearing a person, whether if it's an unhealthy fear of God. Like there's many reasons why we don't do what we were called to do with what we're given. And so in this season, we're going to begin to identify triggers and traumas. Come on, somebody. Because again, your trauma and triggers are directly connected into how you handle your finances. Again, people who handle their finances well typically have healed and are more holistic in their soul. And so their mindset concerning finances is more healthy. And it's not to say anyone is better than the other. It is to say that God desires for us all to be healed and to be whole. And he desires all to be good stewards. And in order for us to do that, we have to, number one, become aware. Many of us don't realize that we have these wounds in our souls, these issues, because some of this stuff might be from childhood, right? And then we also have these bad habits and behaviors that we've learned over time. I know for myself, I did not grow up in a home where anyone talked about finances. I didn't grow up in a home where, I seen money. I grew up in a home where it was like really wasn't a lot of money. We were getting by. We had everything we needed. But, I never heard no one talk about a budget. I never heard nobody talk about savings. I never heard nobody talking about investing. I never heard any of these financial terms or tools or vehicles that are necessary in order for you to have good financial management. I never was sat down and told financial literacy or how to balance a checkbook or how to really properly put your money in a certain type of account so it can actually yield some interest versus you just going to put your money in a savings account because you hear the word savings and you think that's a good thing because that's just a place for your money to sit versus having a high yield savings account where you can gain like 4.25% or having a CD or mutual fund that also has a interest rate of 4.25%. And they're the same thing. The difference is the type of vehicle it is and how much interest you gain, right? And then there's even different accounts and products where you can have compound interest. Because when you just put your money in the bank, whether it's a checking or savings account, it's not gaining any interest because the interest rate for most savings accounts are 0.01. So it's not even 1%. Like it's a fraction of a percent a year. So that's why it doesn't change every year. If you look at your savings account, it doesn't grow because you had it just sitting in there. It grows if you just add more money. But the bank is taking your money and they're lending it out when people are coming and applying for mortgages, auto loans, private loans. They're lending out your money and they're gaining interest on your money. And so just even these small little nuggets that is necessary to help us to get further along. And so we can get out of this place of poverty, get out of this place of a poverty mindset, meaning a lack mindset. Like everything you do is based out of lack and not abundance. I remember, I have had a business coach and I remember him saying something to me. I was coming to him and I had a decision to make. And I was going over the different options that I had with him. And he just looked at me and he said, is the option you're considering an option that's out of a lack mindset or a abundance mindset, right? So I'm going to paint the picture for y'all. I was going through a very hard financial place. And money was just being utilized very rapidly and I didn't have a lot of money coming in. Well, I had a vehicle at the time that was able to afford prior and it was current. I was paying a note, but it was really coming to a place where I was like, I don't know if I can continue to pay this note or whatever because it was a pretty significant amount and I was already heading into a financial crisis. And so I was telling him like I could sell my car back to the dealership and just possibly just buy another car outright, or whatever I have left after they, finish paying the rest of the lien holder off, right? And so I was telling him that and, then whatever other options that I had at the time, I told him all of that. But I told him I was leaning towards going ahead and selling it back and then just downsizing and just buying another car cash so we can at least have transportation. And he just was like, is this from a lack mindset or an abundance mindset? So I was like, not really sure, because really I felt like my back was just against the wall and I had to make a decision. And he said to me, and I'll never forget it, he was like, Janelle, if you decide to sell your truck back and take money and get a smaller car, he was like, that is a decision based out of a abundance mindset. Because an abundance mindset says, you know what? Right now, this car is becoming more of a liability than it is an asset to me. And I need to find a way to get from under this burden and to continue to ensure that I have transportation to me and my family. He was like, that's an abundance mindset. And so understanding mindset around money, like a lot of times we make decisions, but we're doing it out of a lack mindset. And so I just want the people, the women who hear this podcast, and even particularly in this season, I pray that something will break off of you, off of your mind, off of your soul that has been hindering and impeding you from really seeing true financial blessings and breakthroughs. And I'm asking the Lord to just really impart into me a word every time I come on. And of course, I'm always looking for people who I can have on as guests that can also bring their wisdom, their knowledge, their expertise. I will say this as I'm wrapping up, because again, this is just a trailer, but I wanted to kind of give you guys a little teaser of what to expect for this season. There is a difference between someone who just has knowledge, right? Meaning you can read a book, you can go to school, and you just have knowledge, but there's a whole nother thing with when someone has experience. And in a lot of cases, people say experience is better than knowledge, right? Just having a formal education, and there is truth to that. And I said that to say that I have both, right? So I have qualifications. I'm a certified financial coach. I became a life insurance agent in 2016, and I had to study and learn financial vehicles, financial products, finances, and I was a financial representative for Western and Southern Life. And then also, I have been poor and I have been wealthy, right? And so I have lived both perspectives, and I've learned through both perspectives, but it's helped to give me I think a holistic, well-rounded view on this subject matter. Okay. But again, I'm going to be seeking out other guests to come on to really impart into you guys, to give you guys tools and resources and encouragement and whatnot, and on how to really get to this place of being financially free. We are looking to be financially free in this season. We're looking to really be able to get a hold of our finances and begin to walk in multiplication, abundance, more than enough. We don't want to continue to rob Peter to pay Paul, have just enough, don't have enough. Because God is a God of abundance. He is a God that can supply all our needs. So the Lord is our shepherd, we shall not want. And again, this ain't prosperity gospel, but this is to say we serve a God who he owns 1,000 cattle on 1,000 hills. We don't have to worry. We should not be in perpetual poverty, right? Because how can we be a blessing? How can we sow? How can we bring the kingdom on earth? How can we build? How can we create, right? If we have nothing. And so there is always something that you need in your hand. It ain't always money. It can be favor, but like Solomon or the author of Ecclesiastes said, money answereth all things. And Jesus said I believe it was the disciples in the New Testament, and he said, no man goes to build without first counting the cost. So it's going to cost you. And again, it may not always be finances, but there's a cost. Even understanding how to count the cost when the cost is going to be your dreams, or the cost is going to be what you've been believing for, or the cost is going to be how you thought it was going to be, right? It's like, how do you walk in that? And so that's all encompassing of finances and just understanding how to become soft, even if you're a boss, okay? Because this season really for my bosses. Okay, my women who are here doing their thing, women entrepreneurs, like that percent is so high for women, especially women of color. Entrepreneurship is on the rise. Many people are entrepreneurs now, but women in particular are some of the number one rising groups of millionaires and entrepreneurs. And so just making sure that we don't become like men and have like a masculine, energy about us, but more or less just being able to still be soft, still being able to respect the honor of man, still be able to, be soft spoken and so to speak, and slow to anger, still be able to show love and grace and kindness and goodness, even if you are a millionaire, even if you do have financial freedom, even if you are entrepreneur, even if you have like a lot abundance of wealth, how can you still operate as a godly woman and manage what God is giving you? Okay, what he's put in your hand. So I hope this really begin to open your mind and cause you to really think about your finances and your relationship with your finances, how you view finances. And we're gonna get into it here in the next few episodes. I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you all for who popped on the live stream, and for those who will come on the recording. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your share with your friends, your family, and make sure you can leave a review, or you can leave a review. Just continue to help us and partner with us by leaving a review, like, commenting, and sharing. So I am about to go ahead and get off of here and let you guys go back to your day. But I do want to remind you that your past does not define you. It develops you, and you are worthy.